Manila Water and Maynilad got tossed into choppy waters when President Duterte fussed about the government's existing concession agreements, citing onerous provisions. That sparked a wild ride for stocks that had a stake in the utility. Here's a story.
On December 10, an angry President Rodrigo Duterte spewed expletives at Metro Manila's two water concessionaires.
What did you do? Unscrew the country. Now, pag hindi ako ma-satisfy, I will expropriate everything. Kunin ko lang. Pag-demanda ka na mag-demanda. Total. 2 taon lang naman, tapos wala na ako.
He referred to some provisions in the concession agreement with Manila Water and Maynilad as onerous. It came after the Permanent Arbitration Court in Singapore ordered the government to pay at least 10 billion pesos to both Manila Water and Maynilad for meddling in rate adjustments. The water firms argued that based on their contracts, they should be compensated for the losses incurred during the period that the MWSS has denied their rate hike petitions from June 2015 to November 2019.
The concession agreement was drafted by our consultants. Kasi noong 1996, wala naman ho kaming alam. Dahil wala naman privatization sa Pilipinas. At in fact, sa buong mundo, medyo bagong-bago ho yan. Kaya kaya kumuha kami ng consultants. Tapos inapprove ho yan ng Board of Trustees. Pagkatapos i-review, nag-set ang special advisory group si President Ramos.
Ang mga concessionaires po, kami po si Romina, wala ho kaming alam tungkol sa kontrata. Ginawa po ni Cardo yung kontrata on his own. Take it or leave it. Kung okay sa inyo tong kontrata na to, di mag-bid kayo. Kung ayaw nyo, di wala. 4 po ang nag-bid. Ang una pong nanalo, ang original na Maynilad was the Lopez Group at ang Ayala won the East Zone.
In the end, Manila Water and Maynilad buckled. The water service provider said they will no longer run after the arbitral award.
Na-award po ang arbitral award sa Maynilad noong 2017 pa po. At after we have followed up the government, nung hindi ho kami binibigyan ng pansin, hindi na ho kami nagpursige. Malinaw po yun sa aksyon ng Maynilad. Ngayon po na humantong na tayo sa dito, i-reiterate po namin na sang-ayon po kami sa direktiba ng Presidente, sa kagustuhan ng Presidente, wag na ho naming habulin yung historical arbitral award sa amin.
Di nyo na po ba sisingilin yung 7.4 billion na arbitral award sa inyo?
Po sir, susunod po kami sa kagustuhan ng gobyerno at ng pamahalaan at ng Pangulo po.
Duterte's war against the water firms took their toll on the shares of the companies. Manila Water was worst hit. The stock freefalled by more than half, all the way back to its IPO price in December. Metro Pacific, which has shares in Maynilad, sank to an 8-year low before recouping some of those losses. Manila Water's parent Ayala Corp and Maynilad's other owner DMCI were also badly hit. But their stocks are showing signs of recovery after Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara clarified that the government does not plan to replace the two firms as Metro Manila's water service providers. He says the DOJ only wants to review provisions on setting water rates as well as the passing on of income taxes to consumers. Guevara said the cabinet will have to look at the draft of the changes to the agreement before it will be presented to the two firms. Following review into the existing contract, the MWSS scrapped the resolution signed during the Arroyo administration, extending the service agreement with the two companies until 2037. Now, Manila Water and Maynilad are only assured of about 2 years to serve their customers and, more importantly, recover investments. Still, both firms say they're keeping an open line with the government to come up with a deal that will satisfy both parties. Both companies warned of significant rate hikes in light of this development.
We're still computing, our finance officer is here, but definitely it will go very high because the rationale of the extension at that time was to mitigate any spikes in tariffs or presyo ng tubig because nga ho, kailangan pong mag-invest pa ng mga water concessionaires ng mas malaki.
Magmula pa po noong magkaroon ng original extension noong 2009 ay base po doon nga po sa approval ay ginawa na po namin yung spending plan that presumes na mababawi po ang lahat ng investment natin.
Experts warn the government that failing to honor its contract sends a bad signal to potential investors.
It will send a signal to the world that our contracts are not being honored and that they can be swayed or changed or even nullified upon the moods of our politicians. This sends a very negative signal and could potentially turn a lot of investors off.
Huwag naman tayo masyadong overreact, no? Because normal naman sa business na minsan nakuha ng kaso and both parties come and sit down and come to an agreement. So yung aggrieved party, one of both parties can say, okay, palino natin why.
Economic managers also moved to assure that investor sentiment will not be affected. In fact, Finance Chief Sonny Dominguez said that the concessionaire's willingness to revisit the contract should be a good signal to the investing community that people are looking after the interests of the nation. NEDA Chief Ernesto Pernia explains that the water concession agreement between the Philippine government with Manila Water and Maynilad are kind of disadvantages because in 1997, the government was at the mercy of investors because our economy was considered a high-risk economy. But it's not just the government that's threatening the water companies though. Mother Nature is too. The water crisis in the metro earlier this year proved that sourcing water from Angat alone isn't enough. And Senator Grace Poe fears scrapping the deal with current water providers might cause a repeat of the water shortage.
Pinaka-nababahala ko ngayon yung pag-revoke ng extension contract. Dahil kung yun ang mangyayari, alam mo kahit magpatayo tayo ng Wawa Dam, yung treatment facilities na, water treatment facilities, at saka yung conveyance, yung pag-distribute ng tubig sa mga households, sa mga businesses, pag hindi tinuloy ang pagpapagawa ng mga yan, kahit na may Wawa Dam ka na, pag tinigil ngayon yung distribution process, mawawalan tayo ng tubig, ngayon na i-revoke yan. So, siguro, nag-usap kami, tinanong namin sa kanila ni Senator Nancy, anong gagawin ninyo ngayon dito sa extension ng pagbibid uli ng bagong kontrata? Kailan yan gagawin? Gaano kabilis? Kailangan na natin yan ma-award sa kung sino mang bagong concessionaire or ayusin ang kontrata.
Antonino Aquino, former president and current member of the board of directors of Manila Water, said it would be important for the firms to come up with long-term water supply sources because it would take some time before the China-funded Kaliwa Dam project is completed. The MWSS has just recently began preparatory work for the dam's construction, but it would take another 3 years to complete the reservoir. The agency also gave the green light on Enrique Razon's Wawa Bulk Water Supply project last month, but this facility is not expected to serve Metro Manila until at least 2021. And with only a few months before summer arrives again, consumers will also have to do their part in conserving water and hope that the venerable Angat Dam holds.